4 humans walked into the bar of the lawless nebula starport. They surveyed the aliens sipping cocktails and noticed they were being stared at. As they approached the bartender, a Mordog, the humans were relaxed and confident. "Humans go now. No service. Adios," the Mordog bartender told them, speaking in low growls. The alien expected them to simply leave, even though there was no other drinking establishment in the run-down frontier trade post. "It's okay, Mordog. They're with me, and I am technically a Skardanian, since I was born on Skardania. We're all pilots for kamikaze-class escort fighters, and we were given a furlough while our masters, the Skardanians, are trading." Dizzy gestured to the 3 male humans with her. The Mordog sniffed her, and she indeed smelled Skardanian. Still, the Mordog was not convinced, for she looked and sounded exactly like a human. "No humans allowed. Skardanian okay, though," the Mordog reluctantly admitted. "We're all Skardanians." Ivan pointed to the security force emblem on his uniform, as well as the uniforms of all the humans. "No, you are humans. What I look like? Some kind of kumatar? I smell humans. Now go." The Mordog growled and showed its massive teeth. "Look, sir, we only have 1 night to spend our credits, and we chose your fine establishment for some entertainment. Do you really want us to go get into our fighters and get back to work? We eliminate anything that obstructs the Skardanian economy in any way, with extreme prejudice," Tex elaborated. "And we have Skardanian credits to spend here. It would be bad for business if your fine establishment rejected our master's compensation now, wouldn't it?" The Mordog asked his translator to explain the meaning of what Tex had said and suddenly got a worried look, letting its tongue hang out of his mouth, covering its lower fangs in a submissive facial expression. "Okay, I'll sell 1 drink to each of you. Shouldn't be a problem," the activated translator said as the Mordog made wheezing sounds in its own language. "I'll have a beer," Dizzy ordered. "No, make it a Boilermaker. A beer and a shot of whiskey. I'll drop the shot glass into the mug so it's 1 drink." "Make mine a double martini on the rocks," Lucky chimed in, grinning. He nudged Tex for his quick thinking. "I like a glass of wine. Super Brothers Valley 2025. I've always wanted to try that," Tex said with a weird slyness in his voice. "Vodka and milk. Room temperature," Ivar requested. "I've only got what is on tap, none of that stuff. Those human drinks. You all have the Glitzer Starshine. Think you can handle it?" The Mordog had no idea what the humans were asking for, but figured it couldn't be as strong as the best stuff, the Glitzer Starshine. "Okay, I guess we'll have a round of the Glittery Starlight, whatever that is," Dizzy agreed. "Please seat at a table, keep quiet. I'll bring it over. You drink, you pay, you go," the Mordog growled again, regaining its composure. The humans walked heavily to a table, chatting and making jokes about the various aliens sitting around the bar. All eyes were on them, and many of the aliens had means to understand the humans and took offense. "Look at that old snake. I didn't know males of their species got so big." Lucky picked his alien first. The humans were up to something, but the Mordog couldn't guess what it was. The Mordog poured their drinks and shuffled over to their table and set 1 in front of each of the killer humans. "Check out the cricket. Don't those things normally run in swarms? Why is that one all alone?" Dizzy clicked directly at her alien of choice, making sure it knew she was talking about it. Her single clicking noise was a most foul word in its language and annoyed the alien. "I don't like the look of that overgrown spider. Looks half asleep. Couldn't spot one of his gods if it rose out of the floor and sang the entire history of its clan to it, and announced it would become the next solar deacon. Too sleepy to be vigilant enough for that." Tex directed his voice at his own alien and spoke slowly so that his translator could easily digest the carefully articulated insult. "Check out the stupid monkey." Ivar gestured directly at a 4th alien, which immediately responded with a loud whoop of anger. "Now drink and go. Stop talking." The Mordog accepted the credit transfer and then looked around, noticing that trouble was brewing. The Mordog went back behind the bar counter and regretted letting the humans stay.
Say that to my face!
The Riftin, which looked like a Rus macaque, was swaying behind Ivan, holding some kind of fermented fruit punch. Would you care to join us, little monkey? I can tell you haven't even started. We haven't either. Ivan pulled out a seat for the Riftin and patted it, speaking in a broken version of the alien's native language. The Riftin got onto the seat and eyed the humans, especially Ivan.
I've had one drink. You're right. I haven't started,
the Riftin said with a weird alcoholic camaraderie, partially speaking in a broken version of the human language. The Arfim cricket chosen by Dizzy hopped over and took a seat at the table, producing a set of dice.
I'm not alone, if I am rich. Would you like to win some of my cash?
Oh, I'd love to. Dizzy put her arm around the delicate insect, gently hugging it. The Arfim emitted a pleasant aroma, making all the humans grin. The massive serpentine alien slithered over to the table, moving with feminine grace and deliberate precision. I'm Shiva Delofrim. Obviously you are mistaken about my gender. The Sunder snake that Lucky had picked on was moving in a polite pattern near the table. She crawled around and onto one of the seats, which were too small for her. She had a whole pitcher of clear liquid she had brought from her own table, and set it in the middle of the table. Dilution. We don't need any chasers, Lucky smirked. Dilution is made of chili venom. I doubt you could imbibe very much of it without becoming severely intoxicated. Shiva Delofrim spoke the human language with no difficulty, her voice almost sounding human. The painted tarantula approached Tex and tapped his shoulder.
I am fully aware of your tactics to goad me into defending myself. Crude as your insult was, I am impressed by your knowledge of what would amount to a truly scandalous accusation, if it were spoke publicly.
The blue light watcher let his translator speak fluid human, as it articulated with a complex combination of urticating hairs bristling, eye movements, and subtle gestures with its limbs. You fine patrons of this stinking Moradog bar at the ass end of the galaxy seem to be enjoying our company. Us humans, that is. Care for some real entertainment? A challenge of your respective species' tolerances of intoxication? Tex proposed. Then, with his fingers in his beard and his eyes crossed, he managed to say just one word to the blue light watcher, in his own language. Publicly.
You're on. I can drink everything on this table, the Riftin claimed,
eyeing the expensive chili venom, the Sunder dilution. Winner take all. Shiva Delorofrim alluded to the dice on the table, while her tone was amicable and social.
I've got plenty of money, I'm very wealthy,
the Arfim reiterated.
There's no chance I'm missing out on this adventure.
The blue light watcher took a seat and carefully caressed Tex's beard.
Wait, before you begin, I cannot miss out on an adventure.
The large, dark, bat-like alien in the corner of the bar had watched and listened, and could not remain an observer. The humans all looked directly at the cave gods as he scuttled over to them, and they guessed he was Nyktoff, the juvenile of his species. He alone was young among the cave gods, and travelled all over the galaxy in his own advanced spaceship, seeking adventure. You're welcome to join us. We were just going to have ourselves a little fun, a bit of a drinking game, if you will. Dizzy welcomed the famous alien.
I am Nyktoff.
He introduced himself to the humans. They all nodded, expecting that was who he was. The rules are simple. We roll the dice, and whoever gets doubles has to drink. Whoever finishes their drink has to buy another round. Whoever is less seated by the end of this is the winner, Tex explained, and waited until he was sure all the aliens understood the rules. Tex scooped up the dice and rolled a 5 and a 6. Guess I stay thirsty this turn. The blue light watcher was next and rolled doubles. It stuck one fang in its drink and took a pull like a straw. Then it was Nyktoff's turn, and he rolled doubles. Grinning with enthusiasm, he scooped a thimble from the dilution and tipped it back. He shuddered and laughed. Ivan got the dice and was the first human to take a drink. The Rifter seemed to be cheating and dropped the dice onto doubles and matched Ivan's swig, eager to get drunk. Lucky was next and made a show of wiggling his arm and dropping the dice the way the Riften had, calling out, "Snake eyes!" Shiva de la Riffin emulated his exact motions and managed to get the exact same roll. She had a glass full of chili venom and sipped it coyly. Dizzy was next and got a 3 and a 4. She slid the dice to the Arthrim, who got 2 4s and finished its drink, the thimble-sized shot glass.
"Put it all on my tab."
The Arthrim got up, tapping the table lightly, and hair fluttering, rode the air to a couch and lay back, crossing all its legs. "Will that thing be alright?" Ivan asked Dizzy. She looked at the Arthrim. "It's hard to tell. It could be asleep or it could be dead." Dizzy shrugged. The game continued. The Riften was getting impatient and kept drinking even when it wasn't its turn. Soon it had fallen over into Ivan's lap and was snoring contentedly. The humans kept the game going, laughing and adding dilution to their drinks. The blue light watcher fell out of his seat and sprawled onto the floor, still breathing, but drawling in inebriated misery.
"Need some help there, friend?"
Tex carefully lifted the weightless tarantula, getting some of its paint on his hands. He helped it to a couch and tossed some pretzels out of a bowl and placed it in the blue light watcher's hands.
"Thanks. I do feel ill."
"Yeah, that's in case you throw up." Tex sounded like he was congratulating the alien.
"I'm already doing so,"
the blue light watcher said, as it continued drawling into the bowl. Tex came back to the table just as Nuktov fell out of his seat, laughing drunkenly.
"This is too much fun, but it seems I have lost my balance. I'll just watch the game. I've had enough to drink."
Nightov grinned and looked at everyone, his eyes half shut in merriment. The humans neatly finished off the entire pitcher of dilution and didn't seem very affected by the glitzer starshine or the chili venom. Shiva de Lofrem tried to keep up with them, but they took it all too fast, and she ended up dancing on the table, which the humans thought was hilarious. When Shiva de Lofrem and Nuktov reclined, the humans each stood up slowly, and they staggered slightly and giggled. "Okay, so you aliens can drink, but we did win," Dizzy pointed out.
"That was very fun,"
Nuktov nodded, always glad to meet humans. "You drank my entire supply of dilution," Shiva de Lofrem complained. "Consider it a gift for getting me buzzed. I never drink in such a way." "Sounds legit. Since you were the last alien seated and you're already sobering up, I'd say you're a winner in my book," Lucky told her, smiling that terrible smile that humans made when they are being friendly or shooting enemies. Only a Sunder comprehended the subtle differences. Shiva de Lofrem watched as the 4 humans walked out of the bar, and as the place became quiet and boring again, she said, musing, "You had me at snake eyes."